This podcast is brought to you by the Podtower, hosted by the Watchtower database. Visit youtube.com/thepodtower for informative, hilarious DC animation-themed podcasts and live streams every week. And check out the Watchtower database for DCAU video essays, timelines, fan theories, and more. And please, enjoy the show.
Is every place has something to be afraid of. Like we've got earthquakes.
We were talking about earthquakes, and then Brian just goes into an existential conversation instead.
Oh, this is what 40 feels like, by the way.
Whoa, you're so old.
So we've got earthquakes. And volcanoes is a legitimate threat.
We got volcanoes. We got tsunamis.
You have tsunamis, earthquakes, and landslides, and volcanoes.
Look, you know that part of Fantasia 2000 where the volcano? That was here, man. That was on my birthday like 12 years before I was born.
You're a dude just like on a mountaintop, like, and like.
Yeah, I'm the big Batman guy. That's what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm. Man Bat?
Yeah, I am Kirk Langstrom.
We're tying it in. We're tying it in.
Brian's favorite episode.
East Coast has hurricanes.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes tornadoes, sometimes earthquakes.
On Drum Corps Tour, I would occasionally be, we all got to go inside because big tornado, lightning, thunderstorm shit's going to happen now.
Damn.
And there would always be these like urban legends of like, if your horn starts to glow blue, you're about to be struck by lightning. Like, you got to drop your horn. And I was like, what is a fucking Hobbit? What is going on? There's orcs coming. You better drop your horn and get out of there.
Blue, maybe not so much. I will say, though, from experience, if you're in an area that's about to be like really messed up by lightning, usually, not just like it's a thunderstorm.
You can smell it.
No, you can feel it. Your hair does literally stand on end when there's like a higher than normal
your spider
static
sense starts tingling.
It kind of feels like that.
Sense.
And then you just stick to a wall and you climb up higher, and then you get struck by lightning.
These weird little squigglies around your head. I don't know what happens. It's pretty cool, but then you get struck by lightning. It's not as cool.
But you can still stick to walls, so it's A-okay.
Yeah. And speaking of Spider-Man, we're watching the new Batman Adventures today, starring the Sandman, as you previously predicted.
Yeah, Neil Gaiman's a co-writer on this.
Yeah, I was thinking of the Spider-Man Sandman.
I know, I'm just throwing an extra wrench.
I know.
There's so many wrenches!
I was just thinking of the song Enter Sandman. That's the episode we're
Metallica does the theme song.
Yeah. Well, who is it that's the Spider-Man animated series theme song person? Spider-Man.
No, are you thinking X-Men or something?
No. Who does this?
I don't even remember the song right now. I can't picture.
Spider-Man. What the hell? What's his name? It's the vocalist to Aerosmith. I'm wrong, but
Steven Tyler?
It was in the No. It says Anthony Joseph Joe Perry.
Joe Perry's the guitarist.
It says lead guitarist and occasional lead vocalist of Aerosmith.
What?
I don't know. Welcome back to Jump on the Bat-Wagon. It's episode 120.
Oh, I got that right.
Nice round number.
Oh my God.
I'm James from the Watchtower Database YouTube channel. I'm here to show my good buddy Brian the entire DC animated universe from start to finish for the very first time in the controversial Airdate order. So that...
And I'm Brian.
He may view these shows the way human beings experienced them in the far gone days of the 1900s.
Don't lose it, Jamie.
The time of this recording.
12:39 p.m.
The new Batman Adventures is streaming on Max.
My dog.
As the fourth or third season of Batman the Animated Series or something stupid like that. And available on DVD and Blu-ray.
Which is a type of physical, like digital media for...
It's like a disc.
It's like a disc that you put into a disc player that plays the specific format. And zone, you got to pay attention to zone.
I know, it depends. Yeah. It's also your dog. And if you'd like to follow along with that... head over to bit.ly/watchdcau. Link is in the show notes. Okay, we're watching the new Batman Adventures episode, Never Fear. I already made the joke that you guessed it was Sandman, but then you're like, LOL, I meant Scarecrow. And you were right. And you said he was fucking up the day, which, okay. But do you want to give any sort of insight on how he's fucking? Why?
Okay.
How is he fucking?
He's making badly. He's fucking in a way that's gonna make people go, oh,
not my pizza.
Or
he goes to Metropolis. He goes everywhere.
He's just all over the place. Fear pizza. Free delivery. I bet he's doing free delivery. I bet nobody has to pay for his like scary dust.
If you don't get scared in 30 minutes or less, it's free.
I feel like people would do that.
I was thinking about how when there's episodes that have a new villain or like a returning villain from BTAS, but obviously everyone so far has had like a little bit of a new look to them or whatever. What do you think? Scarecrow's new look. What do you think his update's going to be like? Or down
zero eyeballs or spaces for them. He's just going to be like an eyeless person without.
So you think
eyes.
He's going like extra spooky this time?
Oh yeah, like
Freaky
probably
deaky.
fangs.
Oh, okay.
And what if he's wearing like a Captain Hook pirate coat and tri-corner hat?
You know. Honestly, some of this is kind of accurate. The way I was like, where's he going to go from here? Because so far, this isn't too bad.
He's going to be red instead of tan, and his name's going to be Gerald.
Oh, that last part. This episode first aired Saturday, November 1st, 1997 at 9:30 a.m. on Kids WB. This was half an hour after our last episode, The Late Mr. Kent.
Wow.
Same day. This aired number 4, produced number 4. New Batman Adventures swinging and hitting them out of the park so far on the Airdate prod order. You know,
love it.
I'm just gonna say this was prodded number 4. That way I don't have to say produced to get my way through that. This was aired 4 and prodded 4. Written by Stan Berkowitz, just like last time. Previously wrote The Wave Off Flesh, Two's a Crowd, Promethean, Brave New Metropolis, World's Finest Part 3, The Late Mr. Kent, and co-wrote Hand of Fate with Hilary J. Bader.
That's literally my top 7 in order there.
Oh my God. Yes, it's completely accurate as we discussed last time. Our top 10, 12 or whatever. Directed by Kenji Hachizaki, just like last time. His previous directions were Wave Off Flesh, Action Figures, and Late Mr. Kent. Music is by Shirley Walker, who's the supervising composer for all of BTAS, composer of the BTAS and STAS theme music, and composer for Holiday Night, Sins of the Father, Father's Day, Hand of Fate, and Cold Comfort. So far, all of the new Batman Adventures episodes. And animation is by TMS, just like last time.
Oh my God.
I know, this is our first TMS New Batman Adventures.
Okay.
Previously animated 7 episodes of BTAS and the Sega CD cutscenes, as well as 15 episodes of STAS so far.
Does he really look like Captain Hook, though?
You'll see.
Okay. I'm excited.
He's just straight out of Disney, giant hook nose. Peter Pan? No, it's Batman, actually.
Shmee!
Yeah, Shmee! There's a crocodile coming. There are crocodiles in this episode. Holy shit, hang on.
Okay, Batman is Peter Pan. We got the new subtitle for the episode.
We haven't even started yet. Okay, if you want to buy us a Yoppie Bev and support this show,
Support it.
We'll give you a shout out in an upcoming episode.
Look, it's your content tax. If you are somebody other than like Tip Tapricot or Kale or Vitz, then like it's probably your time to pay the content tax. Just saying. It's only what, $150 an episode? Is that right?
That's what we said before. $1.62 million per episode. We'll also do a push-up for every dollar to send us a coffee for our health and your entertainment. Today's Yoppie Bevs come to us from Keith from Portland. Hey, Keith.
Oh, yo.
Hey, guys. Enjoyed attending the world's finest live show. I wanted to finally admit my favorite BTAS episode as a kid was Time Out of Joint. What is wrong with me?
Nothing.
Do push-ups while you ponder this, please. Love you both. So it's just a Yoppie Bev, so we just gotta do 5 push-ups. We gotta think about why the hell would you like Time Out of Joint while we do it.
I'm gonna contemplate.
1, why? 2, why? 3, why? 4, why? 5, why?
I got the answer.
Oh, what? What is it?
Because you enjoy it for some reason. And Keith, you know what, man? You just get it. That's awesome. Like,
I
good
bet
for you.
Keith likes woman falling down the stairs.
I mean, it's classic. I know. We should know by now. We should know.
Tress McNeil.
There you go.
This show is teaching me things too, Brian. Don't worry about it.
Also,
I know who Spider Conway is.
My Keith gave me a cool little Batman plushie, which is just kind of out of reach at the moment. It's on the other side of this wall.
Giving Brian stuff. I don't have any stuff.
You got a lot of stuff. I also arguably have too much stuff, but anyway, it's okay.
Yeah.
Should we go watch Peter Pan?
Let's never fear ever again.
Okay.
Let's never fear watching this. Here. All right.
James, you really...
We're done.
This isn't the time for games. Now untie me.
It's no game. You're out of control.
You don't know what you're talking about.
That gas has affected you more than you think.
I told you, I can handle it.
You can't! You're not even afraid to kill. I'll be back for you as soon as I can.
Robin, it's hard for me to say this, but you did the right thing. I was out of control, and you've made me see that.
I did what I had to.
What now?
I've got to stop the Scarecrow.
I can help you. I know him.
But...
Don't worry. You'll be the boss on this one.
You almost fooled me.
Untie me, you little... Untie me!
I have these little like cable organizer Velcro things around mine. There's one here that's black and there's a red one further down because
the black one is
springs,
holding. Yeah, it'll.
The springs are just so resonant. You know, you move it, it's just
like this
forever.
Yeah,
like that.
Mm-hmm. My problem with this is I don't want it dead center. And because of that, half the time if I move it angled too far, because like the monitor that I'm tracking this on typically is where I play video games with my friends. So I'll be sitting like this and just slowly and then if it's fallen off multiple times. It's a real problem.
Wait, awkwardly show me the microphone again with your phone. I want to see.
Oh, shit!
That's where we cue in. That's the start.
One of those as well. I used to use it for all the videos and stuff, and now it's like my backup like streaming microphone if I'm doing an art table stream. Sure. But I have yet to do one of those, so it just sits here blinking at me as if to mock me at all times.
Well, one of us does this for a living. And it's not me.
One of us does this for a living, and the one that it is doesn't do the streams that he wants to do. He doesn't have fucking time. He does everything else.
Oh, I don't know if we're started yet, but I have a surprise. This came in the mail today.
Oh, yeah! I know you were upset it wasn't there a few days ago.
Oh, my God.
Okay, so it hit the Canadian-American border at He's
wearing
April 2nd.
A Yoppie Dude t-shirt for the listener.
Yeah. You got to do this to say it's a Yoppie Dude t-shirt.
You have to keep all the sound within the microphone or else they won't understand what's going on.
And so it arrived. My wife literally picked up the mail. She's like, there's a package here for you. I'm like, oh, maybe it's it.
Does it
so you said April what? When did it hit the border?
April 2nd.
Oh my God. Well, this is the last day of April now.
And it only smells a little bit like cocaine. Like, I don't understand why it was held up for so long.
Cocaine smells like...
It smells like the Yoppie Dude shirt. Buy one today and find out.
We include a free kilo with every...
Well, there's the demonetization for today.
They don't listen.
Look, we got Kyle Noronha from the Film Realist podcast. Are you doing Film Realist singular these days, or is it still realists with an S?
I mean, it's always been plural because it's
there's occasional
funny.
Guests and co-hosts and shit. Yeah.
And this is a stupid thing, but the way when we set it up, it was kind of designed. I don't know if you guys know this. The original iPod name was MyPod. But the reason they switched it to iPod was MyPod sounded significantly much more possessive. And so when I was trying to figure out, like, there's only so many names in the film, TV labeling of things. Yes, obviously, if you've listened to the show and you're also listening to this, thanks so much. But if it's just me, it would make sense. But I like bringing on, I've had both of you on the show. And so in doing that, I've always kept it plural because I may be the one on the show, but anybody can be a film realist.
Yeah. Like when we get our beanies in the mail and we'll be official film realist.
What the hell's a beanie?
I'm sending
so
you
sorry.
you blokes some toques.
Beanie Hut Generals.
No, I grew up in, the far north enough that toque is not, well, also just like close enough to Montreal that toque is not a foreign word to me. It's just another name for it.
Were you in New Hampshire?
I was in New Hampshire, yeah.
Yeah, my sister
one of the few
went to
states
Dartmouth.
you haven't visited, right?
No, I've been to New Hampshire several
have
times.
you?
All right, so
Okay.
Kyle, can you tell us what happens in this episode?
No!
You're wondering, Synyop, what you just watched. Synyop, take a listen to the synopsis. The short summary, which is sometimes kind of long.
We gotta do the little dance. You gotta do the dance.
Okay, so we're in Gotham. It's nighttime because it's always nighttime in Gotham. It's always fun and exciting. And we see a slightly overweight silhouette panning across the city on the longest rope in the history of mankind.
Attached to somewhere.
Something. Yeah.
It's attached to the sky.
And a little boy goes, "Mom, is that Batman?" She goes, "I think so, honey." And he immediately crashes into a sign and goes, "Maybe not." And we eventually see that it's blonde Jason Alexander swinging around the city. And Batman and Robin prevent the arm of a sign crashing into the civilians, as well as saving him from diving to his death. He no longer is afraid of anything, which they find quite concerning. And this is, we'll get into it later, I guess. And then we get to see some guy looks like Jordan Belfort / Ron DeSantos, the only guy in an all-white suit, disappear into a crowd. You know you're a good guy when.
Did you prepare this? Are you reading a script, sir?
No, there's nothing. I thought of these. So, okay, cards on the table. I watched the episode 3 times in the last 44 hours.
Okay.
I'm impressed.
Well, partially was one thing that at least, so I own Batman the Animated Series in 3 different ways. I have it on DVD, the Blu-rays, and then I believe the Blu-rays came with digital copies. Most of that home video content is up here in my attic, but I was watching it in the family room, and some of the lip flaps for the audio seemed out of sync. So I specifically watched it on the other platforms to see if maybe it was just a video embedded program or problem, and it seemed to be. So
That sucks.
I don't know. And also I wanted to watch the Batman Volume 4 intro sequence. Because
yeah.
thanks Blu-rays, it's not on there.
We were talking about that when the Batman opening came up, that I said, it's too bad that there's not a new Batman Adventure specific intro, but at least when it starts, whoa, and we're like, yeah, it's Batman. Like every time.
It is disconcerting because it's obviously a different style.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Jordan Belfort DeSantos disappears and he shows up at
DeSantis, by the way. If you're gonna just talk about Americans, you should get the. I'm just kidding. Say his name as shitty as you want to.
So he shows up at a table and he's like, I don't know, the guy who just sort of disappeared. And then we see the silhouette of this character who's like, well, if you're gonna give me test subjects, maybe take more care of them. And then it goes to Bruce Wayne. Brian, have you accepted his redesign yet?
Absolutely not.
No? Okay. Bruce shows up from doing a safety search, because that's his job as the CEO of Wayne Enterprises, right? And his secretary's like, some guy's been calling, and your son, who's not your son, is maybe in your office. And Bruce, being completely out of touch, is like, you in school? He's like, it's summer vacation, Bruce. And did the gymnastics he was doing seem odd for it being Timm. I found
thought
it a
that
little
too, as soon as he was doing circus stuff. I'm like, but you're not the circus one. What are you
Yeah.
doing?
He's doing circus stuff.
Anybody can do circus stuff
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, anybody can juggle, right, Brian?
Absolutely.
in a perfect circle, like always.
I actually need you to make a video of juggling so I can show Melody, because she was asking about juggling the other day. And I was like, I can't. So sorry, kiddo. And what do we learn? We learned that blonde Jason Alexander was afraid of heights, which was interesting. And then another middle-aged man, clearly with no fear, starts yelling at old Brucey, tells him he can fix accounting because, that's going to solve the world's problems. And then he unfortunately forces himself on the poor secretary.
That was gross.
1900s.
Yeah. And then police show up out of nowhere,
Oh yeah, the security guards, I guess.
dressed like cops. And then Bruce decides he's going to investigate with a really thin mustache and nothing else.
Naked Bruce Wayne, dressed like John Waters from The Lip Up.
I just watched Ant-Man and the Wasp yesterday. Ant-Man 2 for Brian. They have a joke about the whole the MCU disguise is just you put sunglasses and a hat on and you must not be recognizable now. And I remember that being such a meme at the time, and I didn't remember them actually mentioning it in one of the movies that they're walking down the street and they're like, we just look like us at a baseball game or whatever. And I just thought that with Bruce, that's just Bruce Wayne in sunglasses with a shitty fake mustache.
Yeah.
It's fine.
So he shows up at a Never Fear, I guess, conference or
Seminar,
something
yeah.
to a rousing crowd, which was quite interesting. And he continues investigation.
Never fear, don't worry.
Yeah, never fear. And then he gets conked on the head by Scarecrow, and we get the full Monty of his redesign. Which I'm sure we will discuss. And then Bruce wakes up in a zoo. Okay, and I was super disappointed by this. With his really thin mustache, instead of it being hey, I'm looking for cash. Why wasn't he French? I'm just looking for money lying around. I'm not afraid of this crocodile.
monsieur, where's
Yeah.
my toque?
Do not look at everything about me except for my thin mustache. And he gets shot with the yellow gas, fights off two crocodiles who are obviously dead.
Yeah. You just murdered them. Yeah.
Yeah, Batman doesn't kill except for giant reptiles, apparently, in the DCAU. And then he suits up with Robin. Things go awry. He threatens Jordan DeSantis in the most scary way possible by threatening to murder him. He does not do so because of Timm. Timm then ties up Batman and is almost convinced Bruce has figured himself out, but he realizes he has not. Timm goes to save the city where Scarecrow has all the gas loaded in a train. Very Batman Beginsy. I thought about that watching that this time.
Oh, didn't make that connection until right now.
Timm gets conkied and tied up with his own handcuffs, which maybe he'll be into later. We don't know.
Scarecrow says, "Get him off me," and Brian was like, "He's 28 pounds. Just stand up."
Batman shows up and saves the day as he is murdering Scarecrow. Timm shows up and gives him his special puffer, so Batman's no longer wheezing, and they drag Scarecrow into the sunlight. The end.
I
do.
literally just dragging him, like they're gonna drag him to the police station like that, I guess.
Yeah.
Apparently.
They show up and they're like, the backs of his ankles are missing. Oh yeah, he was just being pulled along the cement for miles. Sorry.
Look, it was a long walk. Can't expect him to have ankles anymore.
Yeah.
Let me give you the official synopsis. Thank you for that, Kyle. The Scarecrow is back with a fiendishly evil new look and a new talent, the ability to take away people's fears rather than manipulating them.
Didn't see that coming.
Is that a talent?
I mean, it's at least chemistry. It's chemistry.
I put the drops in backwards. I made the vial upside down this time.
You just see him in his lab one day and he bloop bloop. Oh no.
And he throws it and he goes, "Oh, I love spiders now. Oh, hang on a second. I know what to do." Yeah. What was your Kyle, what was your thought of the never fearing you were saying you had some thoughts on how that applied or whatever.
Yeah, it's funny because we see this. So you see the one middle-aged man, and then you see the second middle-aged man. We see a crowd of people who are like, yeah, I don't want to be afraid.
Yeah.
But it seems like the only clientele for this is out of shape middle-aged dudes. Like, that made me laugh because I've seen this episode a number of times, and I never put together that the only people we see outside of Bruce that have been test subjects are these schlubby dudes.
The fact it works on Batman should tell him to get to the gym more often, I guess. Well, I was thinking about how it's kind of this, I don't know, there's lots of comic booky things like this of just how does the gas know exactly what you like, if it turns off whatever thing in your brain makes you afraid of stuff, theoretically, like that's fine. Mm-hmm. But it seems very specific to, like, Batman wasn't previously afraid of crocodiles, but then he just goes like, "I'm gonna fuck up these crocodiles." as soon as he gets hit with that, you would think since he's Batman, he would go, "Oh, now I have no fear of just like jumping over the fence and sprinting up to Scarecrow and snapping his neck or something like that." Like, I don't know.
That's a good question. I think it is something that's a little more just like fear in general. Like, do you have any hesitation about this whatsoever? That's gone.
Yeah, that's the way that I thought it was. It's like like, you know, that fight or flight response, like it completely turns off
just
flight.
Fight.
Right? Because the guy in the beginning,
fight crocodiles.
The guy swinging on the infinity rope, like I would argue it's not that fear's just been turned off. Like he tackles Batman.
Yeah.
That's like a level of just stupidity. Like, I don't care if you're afraid of hitting the pavement.
Well, and
like, you're just gonna.
He specifically was afraid of heights, so it like sets it up that it's supposed to be like the reverse of whatever you're afraid of. So like, I feel like I don't know. We hadn't set up that Batman was specifically afraid of any particular thing. It's fine. It's not really a problem for me. I'm being very
Jamie, why do you hate this?
This is my least favorite episode, and it's bad. No,
it's just over on leather wings.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't know. I mean that it is a pretty good episode. I think I was again trying to think of whether it's better because it's TMS, and I'm sure it is. But I feel like that the story is not. Am I just so predictable, Brian, that I'm always going to talk about this?
Yes.
The story is not itself like very complex or like it's pretty simple. Like, okay, Scarecrow, he takes the fear away this time instead. What'll happen? Mm-hmm. But I do like all of the nature of a Batman. Well, yeah, but a Batman that is not afraid to do anything that needs to be done to get what he needs gotten, and especially the scene of the guy hanging off the side of the building being like, "Holy shit, you're not gonna kill me, are you?" And he's just like, "I don't know, death is death, man. You're gonna die at some point or whatever." And then
might as well be today.
Yeah, like that's a very good sequence, and I think it is enhanced by the animation, but it still would have been good if it had been anybody else. Yeah,
I mean, it's a good story though. Like, whether or not it's like super complex, like it's you know, it does kind of turn a lot of the tropes that have been set up in the past 2, 3, whatever seasons, and it's giving us something a little more refreshing with a character who you kind of feels.
Yeah, I guess it's better than Scarecrow. Just he turns off people's fears, and then Batman and Robin have to stop shit that's happening. Instead, it like directly affects Batman. So
yeah, that's
better.
cool.
Yeah,
I think it shows us stuff we haven't really seen. Doing the rewatch along with you guys has been really enlightening, I think, just on what we got from all the different series. That was what I really noticed about watching it this time with this context of the controversial Airdate order, in that it presents a lot of things we actually never really got to see from the animated series. Like, I know obviously we've seen Timm in a couple I guess all 4 episodes so far, but having that dynamic really of Bruce disagreeing with a young Robin doesn't really come up. One being, like you guys talked about it, Sins of the Father being the origin, Cold Comfort, they don't really have any interactions. And it made me kind of amiss that we didn't get to see young Robin Dick Grayson, and that at the same time we don't get to see Batman truly as an antagonist for part of the story, right? Like that challenge of, oh, Batman's gone rogue, that's never been presented in the DCAU. And the maturity of this, the conception of the story, you're both right. It's quite simple. But with characters that have their shtick, I actually really appreciated that this did, while it being kind of obvious in retrospect, doing the opposite. And like Batman with no fear or no flight or fight response is terrifying. Yeah. Like when those goons show up with Governor of Florida and they're just shooting at him and Bruce is just like, nah, not a problem. Like,
he's just like
he's a Terminator.
Being theatrical about it, like putting his cape in front of him and stuff as he's swooping around. I'm like, he has time for that.
Yeah.
So are you saying if this gas removes their shtick, then you could say that they are officially non-shtick?
Maybe. They are made of Teflon.
Non-shtick bat. Yeah. What? I don't know, man. Oh, I mean, I also think it's heightened by the Scarecrow redesign, because this is, if it had just been
pretty freaky,
the like twig boy red shirt Scarecrow from Batman the Animated Series, it would not have been as spooky and harrowing or whatever.
It's not quite as Captain Hook as you promised me.
When you guessed, like,
Kyle, you'll hear that on Friday.
It's easily the best redesign.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like I loved how, and it shows in BTAS, right? They were constantly changing. I almost said Skeletor.
It's Sandman, actually.
Sandman.
Is what you're looking for.
Yes. Yes. Hello, my child. They were constantly changing Scarecrow. By the time you get to this, Brian, I would be curious. When you see, I guess you knew Scarecrow was in it, but if you're just watching this and there's a dude with a stick and his like farmer hat, I don't think it really would indicate that it is Scarecrow.
No, not at all.
Yeah, just
like, spooky
guy.
Honestly, like knowing my track record, I probably would have been halfway through this episode and be like, "Oh, this guy's like kind of like the anti." Oh God, not Scarecrow. I almost called him Sandman again. Like it is unique enough that he's almost a completely different villain, especially with the reverse effect of what he normally has. Then it's a completely new take.
When the change of voice helps,
right?
I
was just gonna say it's a different voice too, which
don't
is a lot
recall
creepier.
His voice.
Yeah, he was much more theatrical and like transatlantic and stuff before, and now he's he's spooky guy.
I love the idea of him being properly transatlantic, just like coming in.
You scared of me, Batman?
Get on my train. Come on, we'll do the train stuff. But the same redesign. But I mean, it's always been interesting to me that this Scarecrow is so much more like supernatural looking, and yet he's still doing like normal human stuff. Like he can still be strangled, and he's still like, get this kid off me! Oh my God! And he's like sitting there in a train talking to a projector. I don't know what the hell he was doing. But
he was definitely talking to a projector
that wasn't plugged into anything.
It was a reverse projector, maybe. That's the theme of the episode.
We talked about that, yeah. But yeah, I mean, the fact that he's like so extra spooky, but still pretty much doing normal Scarecrow stuff. Like he could have been the previous Scarecrow, and everything would have been exactly the same. But I still very much enjoy this new Scarecrow. Like it's the best Scarecrow. Obviously, it's the best look. He's got a noose around his neck. Like it's creepy as hell.
Yeah. Also, I got a question about his like marketing. So we have
of all the things.
Maybe you know where I'm going with this though. So he shows up to like a room full, like an audience full of dudes, middle-aged dudes trying to get rid of their fear and doing this like, super like TED Talk kind of thing. How did he get everybody there? Does he got a mailing list?
No, he sponsors Joe Rogan's podcast. Are you a man who wants to get rid of your fear?
Oh my God.
Take my supplements. It's fear gas inverted.
Yeah.
Well, you called it also, Brian, when Bruce Wayne leans over and picks up the guy's wallet, and there's a piece of paper sticking out of it. And before you even see it, you said like, good thing there's this small slip of paper with Scarecrow's phone number on it. And then there literally was exactly that. 555 scary.
It's not that hard to predict, like it's kind of like really.
The show was made for 8-year-olds, okay?
Yeah, see,
You're right,
I'm not talented. I'm just 9. I have the mental equivalency of a 9-year-old.
It's surprisingly mature, like going through all the stuff, like with what you guys talked about with last week's episode. This one, out of the 4, substantially more adult, right? Like we see blood.
That so far, yeah.
It's crocodile blood, though.
It's crocodile barbecue sauce.
So I have a question for the both of you. If you bury an alligator, is their tombstone called a crocodile rock?
Oh, man. Well, that's all the time we have for today.
Good night, everybody.
There you go. It took too long for me to find that button.
You got to label him again, Jamie.
I'm going to talk about the cast of this episode.
Yeah.
We already talked about his voice. Kevin Conroy as Batman/Bruce Wayne. Matthew Valencia as Robin/Tim Drake. He was both of those in this episode.
He was.
Good. Trying to keep track of that. Ephraim Zimbalist Jr. as Alfred. I think he was also blonde Jason Alexander. Jeffrey Combs as Scarecrow. He was replacing Henry Pollock II from BTAS. He is Ratchet in various Transformers properties. The leader in Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes. I had to write this down. He plays a character named Gyrus Crinkle in Super Robot Monkey Team Hyperforce Go.
I love that show.
I never watched it, but I remember all the commercials for it being like, oh my God, that's the name of the show or whatever.
Just do yourself a favor, YouTube that theme song. It freaking slaps.
Okay. He's many and varied characters on a bunch of different Star Trek shows, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, Enterprise, Lower Decks, and a bunch of video games. Every time he pops up, I'm like, hey, it's Jeffrey Combs again. but I don't know, or don't remember any of his character names because they're always just like, Bleakborg from this planet in some random episode.
Can't remember Bleakborg?
I'm sorry. He's most notably, he's Herbert West, the Reanimator in Reanimator and Bride of Reanimator as the main guy.
Sure.
In those movies. He went on to play Scarecrow in Lego DC Supervillains and Brainiac in Injustice 2. And he will also be back as another major character years of this podcast from now.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to that. Mm-hmm. Charles Rocket as Guru. I don't know who Guru was.
Maybe the guy on the stage giving the talk.
That guy's got a name, I think.
You would think he does. Let me look up Guru DCAU and see what happens. Yeah, it is that guy.
It's just a Wikipedia article for James.
Weird.
Associate of the Scarecrow. Okay. His main 2 things that I picked out, he was Nicholas Andre, the rich bad guy in Dumb and Dumber. And he is also Dave, the dad in Hocus Pocus, which is 2 very opposite roles for him.
One of those is a good movie and one of them isn't.
Oh, which one are we saying is bad, Kyle?
I've never liked Hocus Pocus.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
That's correct. I don't really like Hocus Pocus.
I watched it for the first time in living memory this last Halloween, I think.
I was just about to say that this is also the first time I've seen Hocus Pocus. So I think maybe both of us
were you
not
there?
seeing it as children. No.
Okay.
We must have somehow.
I was. Is that weird?
Yeah. Just popcorn and like the slider door, like, hey guys.
You have this flashback memory, and Kyle's was just sitting next to you the whole time. No. But yeah, maybe if we were children when we saw it first, we would have a much more of a fondness for it. But I didn't get it. I don't know.
I prefer Halloween Town.
Haven't seen it.
I should have seen Halloween Town by now, but the same situation of I just never watched it as a kid. My uncle is technically in Halloween Town because he was a location scout for the movie.
Where was it filmed? Because I feel like I have some other connection to it.
It must be in somewhere.
Big Bus, obviously.
Yeah. Anyway, this Charles Rocket guy, he was also a Weekend Update anchor on SNL 1980 to 1981. which I don't know this guy at all. So
Wait a minute.
I'm surprised to learn that.
Is that the Robert Downey Jr. season?
I don't,
because that's like the 1 year. That's the one. Like, if it sounds like the 1 year he was there.
One moment, please.
I don't know.
This is what happens when you get a room full of TV fanatics.
I'll find it. You host the podcast.
Okay, sounds good. We have Ken Berry as Seymour Gray, the man who kissed the lady. This is his only DCAU acting credit. He was the host of his own The Ken Berry Wow Show, which ran for only 6 episodes in 1972. It was one of those kind of like...
The Ken Berry Wow Show.
variety show.
Oh.
It had a bunch of good people on it, but like Steve Martin was on it and a couple other people.
I
But
see
it was only very short-lived. His main thing with this Ken Berry, he was Vinton Harper in 130 episodes of Mama's Family, as an 80s sitcom. And I also didn't know the name of that, but when I looked it up, I was like, oh, I know this Mama character for sure, like pop culturally, but I don't know why. Probably Family Guy or something, because I'm 6 years old. And then he was also at a bunch of bit parts in a bunch of older shows and movies such as Golden Girls, Fantasy Island, Chips, Little House on the Prairie, The Love Boat, and The Brady Bunch. So he's one of those guys.
Got it.
It was 85 to 86 for RDJ.
Oh, for Robert Downey Jr. Okay.
I knew it was 80s.
Nice. Well done.
Irrelevant joke now.
We had no Charles Rocket RDJ crossover. Yeah. CR, they called him. And last we have Pamela Siegel as Mother, who's now Pamela Adlon, whatever. She plays Pamela on Louie, Sam Fox on Better Things, Dolores in Grease 2. She's also hundreds of cartoon voices, most notably Lucky on 101 Dalmatians, the animated series, Spinelli on Recess, and Bobby Hill in King of the Hill.
What?
She was the mom at the start going, I don't think that's Batman. And that's...
Oh my God.
She's in this episode for some reason.
Bobby Hill starring in an episode of Batman.
Yeah. She's also additional voices on Duckman, Private Dick.
Of course.
All right, I've got baby trivs for this, which is fine.
Trivs for babies. Jimmy gotta
For
say it.
babies.
No, baby boys.
Okay. After Robin gets tied... No, I'm not going to do it. After Robin ties Batman up, he removes Batman's utility belt. When Batman escapes and catches up with the train, his utility belt is suddenly back.
Well, to be fair, Robin did just kind of like throw it off screen, so it could have just been out
okay.
of reach.
Okay. Yeah,
Which is a
that's
dumb
true.
move,
Good call.
Robin.
On World's Finest, the pictures, the screen grabs they have, he's not holding it. So yeah, Brian's right. The trivs are wrong.
Well, similarly, when Robin breaks the chain off his handcuffs, the rest of his handcuffs vanish.
Oh.
He does the karate chop, and the next shot, they're just not there anymore.
Didn't
But
catch that one.
what? TMS, the worst animation company. The auditorium where Scarecrow's Never Fear seminar takes place bears a resemblance to the Pan Pacific Auditorium on Beverly Boulevard in Hollywood, California. It's a classic example of Art Deco, the inspiration for the dark deco look of Batman the Animated Series. I want to go back and look at if they showed an establishing shot of it or something, because all I can think of is stage with red curtain, and I'm like, yeah, really Art Deco there. Like, although you said, like, what's that font? You were so interested in the font.
It's the outside of the building. Like it is a pretty classic looking animated series model. It's very round with like long shapes.
Round with sticks. Yeah. Okay.
Round with sticks. Yeah.
Art Deco.
Yeah.
So, Brian, you had a problem with this while we were watching. Typically, subway cars have a dead man switch where the operator has to hold down a switch or a handle in place to operate the train. If the operator has a heart attack or another serious problem and is disabled, the brakes automatically activate. There's no indication of any dead man switch in the train in this episode. Additionally, at the end of every subway line, there are mechanical trips that activate the train's brakes to prevent the train from running off the end of the line. Because you were like, a pile of wood is here. Shouldn't there be something better to stop the train? Or
Well, just like, yeah, if some subway operator's just like driving his train and just like, oh no, there's a sign that tells me they got 3 signs that say don't drive through here.
Don't
what
be
am
a
I gonna
train.
do now? Like, yeah, no, of course it's gonna be something
keep going.
else.
Yeah.
And this subway goes all the way out to the Canyonlands just outside of Gotham.
When you mentioned that, you're like, the canyons again. I was thinking of how it was either scare. Oh yeah, it was the guy dangling off the building, telling telling them where he was going to be and all that stuff. And then one of them says like, during rush hour. And I'm thinking like, okay, so the train, tunnel, the subway tunnel must be like right underneath the heart of the city. But then when they pop out the other side, they're in the canyon. So the canyons really are just right there.
Apparently. This is like a New York meets, I don't know, the Grand Canyon kind of topography.
Adjacent city.
Yeah.
It's Springfield, like in terms of what geographically is available. It's Simpson Springfield, right? It's like, look at the mountains, look at the city, look at the desert, look at our ocean.
There's a three-eyed fish at the bottom of the canyon when the subway goes.
So ever since Matt Groening said that that Springfield, Oregon is the Springfield, like it's the inspiration behind it, which by the way, Kyle, for your knowledge, is about 5 minutes that way.
Yeah. Not from you. You can't go 5 minutes that way.
Yeah.
I can walk into a lake or a river.
Ooh, I can walk into a river if I go 5 minutes that way as well.
I can walk into the Columbia River right there.
Oh my God. Okay, guys.
Let's all walk into
5
rivers.
minutes. Let's go walk into a river. I'll be right back.
Go touch river. Come on, get out of your house.
I'm very happy for all of us. We should do that. We should do some buddy walks and each go dive into the river nearest our homes.
Did you have a finishing to your thought that you were doing before about the canyon in Springfield?
I mean, it's just no, that doesn't exist in Springfield. But we need to reserve that for the Simpsons podcast.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I thought you were going to reference Boss Biggest must be there.
Yeah.
Well, in the canyons.
That's
he
the
just
thing.
opens his mouth and the train falls. That's how they get rid of it.
Just the train goes off and then he grabs it like a Subway sandwich and then just like I mean,
I can't believe I almost was afraid of this.
So then why did Alfred then in whatever that episode is called?
The Forgotten.
The Forgotten.
Yeah, why do you have to take the Bat-Wing there?
Yeah, if it's just
taking the subway.
He could have taken the subway. He would have been right there in 2 minutes.
Well, the Bat-Wing might be as slow as another billionaire's plane.
Taylor Swift?
No.
We're being real cheeky today. The last thing I have, even though I think I spotted it, but it wasn't in the trivs. The subway going off the cliff and exploding, and I just went Toy Man because it was the Toy Man explosion. But they didn't have it. I got it. I saw it. But the last thing I actually have is when Robin jumps off the train, he rolls in the opposite direction as the train, which would be inconsistent with Newton's first law of motion.
Well, he's been through a lot today. You know, they had the whole Batman's flying at the building and then pulls 300 G's as he goes at a 90-degree angle. Like, which would have turned both of them to mush. So he's just
splat onto the seat.
Physics is like screwing him up today.
No, the back of the seat just snapping. He's like, "Are you with me, Tim?" And Tim's neck is just at a 90 degree.
Tim, are you with me? Are you with? He's useless. Kid's dead to me.
Robin's uselessness. Well, we're talking about the Batwing. We could do keen effects.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
That was one of my favorite parts, is the Batwings flying through the sky and all the different kinds of like airbrushed bursts of fire that puff off of it when it's changing direction or going past the camera or whatever. That's always good.
That was cool.
I mean, we've talked about it already, but in terms of capturing like actual liquid features, whenever TMS handles stuff like that, like the crocodiles moving throughout
water,
there, and then the really intricate way that the blood like twirls upwards. Like it's not too fast, it's not too slow because the viscosity
makes the symbol of like Batman's bat symbol swirling through the
and then he bursts through.
He stands up like Michael Keaton, but he's just covered in blood.
Was that crocodile like jumping out of the water? Was that the exact same animation twice?
I don't think so, but it did look very, because I was watching for how fucking big is this thing, like the second time, because it was like enormous, but I don't know if that is typical of that type of animal, because I'm not an animal guy. But I was just thinking, like, is there like a big, like, semi-prehistoric crocodile that's still in existence, and the Scarecrow just happens to have a couple
not
of them?
In existence.
He went to the Sewer King. Can I borrow these, please?
The consistency of that water doesn't make sense either, right? Because they're like standing on top of it, and Bruce, when he hops the fence, is like it's feet
Ankle
level,
deep,
and then they're submerged.
Yeah. Brian said, "Oh, this is a lot shallower than I thought."
Turns out the crocodiles are actually 2-dimensional.
Yeah, they're really big from when you look at them this way. They're otherwise flat.
I wanna go like frame by frame, like screen grab it, overlay the 2 clips, and then see if it's the exact same. Because I could have sworn it was, maybe not.
Something I thought was keen that's not necessarily an effect, but in the animation of when they're on the rooftop and Batman's been tied up and he's like, "I'm okay, don't worry about it, come over here." And as Robin's approaching, you see Batman in the background and his upper half is completely in shadow and it's just his eyes, like to be like, he's still evil or whatever.
That actually, that triggers something for me as well. And in that sort of the negative space thing is something they used pretty heavily in this episode. I mean, the whole first half, if not more, like, it seems like it's within the character design to not show all of Scarecrow's face, which is a cool... That's a cool move. I like that. I approve. I give it a thumbs up. But their use of negative space as a storytelling motive is really good.
There's a lot of black with like just barely colors poking through the backgrounds in this, which of course is like a notable btas thing to do. But it was on high alert this spooky episode. Yeah,
spooky.
I thought the use of actual not physics but weight of the actual destroyed sign when you see them struggling with it, like there's you get to see the sparks of electricity, the way that they're, and like them really feeling the, like trying to maintain tension on that so it doesn't crush the stupid civilians who are like,
wow, we could have used that 15 seconds that it was just sitting there to get out of the way, but let's just stand and scream.
Well, that was kind of similar to what we've talked about with TMS Superman episodes, where the kind of shifting time whenever something is like bouncing or whatever, like it gets really slow motion for a second. Although, Brian, you were like, oh, I guess the blonde guy's falling in slow motion because they were falling like right next to each other. Batman grapples up and then stops himself and then very slowly backs up and swings forward and catches him. Like he was just, I'll just float here while you do this.
I don't know. That could have been really funny if you did have that, like Batman like swings back, he's grappled, and he comes back, and the guy just like...
He's already on the ground. Yeah. Batman, he fell past you like 5 minutes ago.
How does that, like, looking at the two of them, I was trying to figure out who weighs more in this situation. Because...
muscle bulk or,
Yeah, exactly. Like...
Blonde Jason Alexander seems kind of thick.
Yeah,
he is a thick boy with 2 C's.
What I was gonna get to with the physics thing was that the whiplash of the like sparking wires was really cool, and I do appreciate that TMS does a very cool thing with. I will assume that if this had been Coco Dong Yang, when the wires hit the ground, there would have been kind of like a clip art looking lightning at the end of the wire, and it just would have been kind of flopping around for a second, and people go and move out of the way. Where like live wire lightning, where it's just purely white and jagged and stuff like that, or something. But the way that it hits the ground and the background painting changes to like a light blue, blasty looking thing as it hits the ground, and everyone lights up in a different color tone of that same like blue electricity looking thing. Like it's just really, it's stuff that they don't have to do, but is just a very nice touch.
Dude,
I'm in love with TMS.
The stuff you catch is unreal, dude. I'm amazed. I
have never paid this close attention to the animation studios prior to doing this podcast, because whenever I think it was the first maybe even 10 episodes of this, we didn't even list the composer or the animation studio or anything.
Is that true?
Brian was picking up on animation and music stuff so often that I wanted to tell him every time like who each one was. I mean, I would occasionally know like, oh yeah, the world's finest, that's TMS and this thing and that thing. But I would, I'd not pay attention to every single episode of everything. And so to have these comparisons now is cool for me to be able to like pick up on stuff of like, oh, that's why when I'm trying to draw Batman as a child and I'm referencing 6 different episode screenshots, my Batman comes out looking like a weird hodgepodge where why is the proportions wrong? It looks wrong. And it's like, oh, it's because it was 6 different guys drawing it or whatever. So
At least.
When characters just staying on model in general's partially one of the reasons they might have simplified everything. Like, I remember watching the show as a kid. Pre-teen. Whenever the DVDs came out was really when when I watched through these.
When we were in middle school and Brian was in college.
Yeah.
Really isn't too far off.
Oh, no, it's not that far off, is it?
That wasn't an exaggeration this time.
To be fair, high school is only 4 years.
When Brian was carving the 10 Commandments.
The 11th to Yop.
And when you get on the hill, I want you to hold them like this for all the Bible pictures.
You're down there with your camera.
Hold them higher.
Oh, yeah, this was totally going in the Bible.
When you watch them consecutively like that, which was like weekends after getting each DVD volume, and then you get to like the Harley and Ivy Joker, and you're like, what is this?
Why is his chin so big? Yeah.
And his nose is so little.
I wonder how much you would have noticed that on TV, once a week or something versus, seeing them all back to back to back like this. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean,
we're doing
to be
technically
fair,
once a week. Yeah.
it's been interesting to have this show / these shows / this podcast creep its way into my everyday because we're not going to talk about the live action Avatar, but I have noticed going back through the animation. No, Kyle.
Kyle did a whole episode of his podcast. Huh?
Oh, there you go. Yeah. The character, like, you can see differences in the animation for the original like Avatar cartoon, like especially like book 1 stuff. It's all over the place, and I had never caught that before.
Book 3 is animated by the same people as most of Justice League Unlimited when we get there.
Oh.
And so when I learned that, I was like, oh, that's why it looks so good to me or whatever. That's why I like this. So the first 2 books are also good, but it does shift in book 3. Yeah.
When it shared directors, like a lot of the people who made the best Justice League stuff worked on book 3, and then they eventually took over all of Legend of Korra, and they've kind of worked both of them, Lauren Montgomery and Joaquim Dos Santos. Like Joaquim Dos Santos was one of the 3 directors on Across the Spider-Verse.
Oh yeah. God. Perfection.
So Brian, look forward to Justice League even more than you were before.
Yeah, deal.
But this is Batman's usefulness in this episode. When he was de-feared, he actually was way more useful than he's ever been. Dodging bullets from like 3 feet away. He got all the information he needed in a timely manner and in an effective manner. And I'll give him kind of a little bit middling, but above average. I'll give him a 6.7 to oh my god, what is it called? Tiny asthma shit. What
inhalers?
Inhaler.
Okay.
Tiny asthma shit. That's what I'm going with.
I'm going to go the other way because I think that Robin did more. I think he was more responsible. I think Batman was just useful. Like, he was kind of there, but he was also kind of making problems happen. So I'm going to give him 4.93621. Middle-aged men rage quitting in your office out of 10.
I'm actually surprised this hasn't come up yet, but neither of them are named Kyle. Like, if you just explained the episode, it's be like, oh, they're drinking Monster Energy drink, doing extreme things.
Yeah. That's totally Kyle, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
By the way, man, we got to talk about your monster addiction, okay?
Yeah. I think you would probably have heard the podcast episode where I talked about my action figure as a child, the BMX action figure that I just named Kyle because he seemed like a Kyle.
Yes, I did.
It was even before the Kyle memes, but anyway.
There we go. I know, it's ruined my name for everybody. And then Twilight had to ruin my middle name, which is Edward.
I thought it was going to be Bella.
I see where you're both coming from, the usefulness. So here's my point of view. If Robin didn't stop Bruce, he would have killed 2 people. This episode is 10 minutes long. So I think that's pretty high. Like, yes, he gets stopped by a 28-pound 13-year-old or however he's supposed to be aged at this point. So outside of that, I'm going to give him 9 really small mustaches out of 10.
From the Russian French Bruce Wayne.
Hey, I was just looking for extra cash.
Well, but I'm French. Yeah. Well, I've got baguettes.
Whoa, bada bing, I'm French. Can't you tell from my mustache? I always play Waluigi. I'm French.
I don't think any of the Waluigi conversation was recorded. So that's not on there for.
It doesn't matter. That one's just for the 2 of you.
Where is Clayface?
Oh, he's Jordan Belfort's chin for sure. That thing doesn't happen in nature.
Yeah, that's better. I was going to do the floating crock barbecue sauce, but that's better.
Yeah. Oh, that's pretty good.
He's just hanging off the building, and the line snaps, and he starts falling, and Clayface just jumps ship. He just leaves his chin. Like, I'm out of here. Not this again.
What if he was the billboard, though? The drink, whatever.
That said men or whatever. The men.
Oh my God.
Coke?
We didn't talk about any of the Times
all the
Square
billboards,
billboards going on here, and they're all like iron, men, like other weird like think and like butts. It was pretty amazing.
It was a very strange arrangement. Yeah, why those specific things?
I don't know, but I want to write them down. That was pretty
Were
good.
they names of shows? Were they just advertisements? And we also got B. Burton, some newsman on the giant TV there.
With a terrible comb over.
No,
I mean, terrible.
That was his
epic.
entire appearance.
Yeah.
Batman Burton. That's his full name. But he doesn't like to go by it publicly.
I just thought of this now. I don't know if you guys watch this, but if you threw the Crimson Chin costume over Guru, it's the same character model.
It really is, yeah.
Oh,
He just shows up to the Scarecrow long table meeting in his Crimson Chin costume. I thought I told you not to wear it to our professional scenarios.
It's not a hot take to say that Fairly Odd Parents is one of the greatest cartoons of that era.
It is, yes.
It's so good.
Books or hip hop?
Oh, okay, Kyle, did you ever play Halo?
Yeah, I'm sitting next to a Series X that's literally called Halo
Drinking
Machine.
Monster.
I was so excited for the debut of that clip. What was it, last week?
Yeah.
Capture the flag. Oddball.
Clayface. Yeah.
Look at my chin.
I think this is hip hop.
Yeah, I'll get a more hip hop vibe from it as well. Kyle?
Oh, it's hip hop for sure. Can you imagine like Scarecrow on his album being like this, arms crossed, and it's like, never fear.
Hell yeah. In that
the
same font.
as the
Yeah.
thing, yeah.
Yes, I can imagine that. I can imagine that very
of
easily,
course.
in fact. That sounds great. Sign me up.
Okay, Brian, the top 10 for the new Batman Adventures. It's going on there by default, but where? I'm going to put it at number 2, under Holiday Nights, but above Sins of the Father and Cold Comfort. I feel like Sins of the Father and Cold Comfort were just kind of like, yeah, those happened. They were not bad. And then this one was a lot more like, yes, the spooky Scarecrow thing. And then these TMS, there's a lot of this cool stuff going on.
I think I really hate to do this, but I'm gonna do the exact same. I feel like we're not diverging on this as much as we have in the past.
Yeah. btas was all over the place, but
Also, what the hell's with my description of this?
that's what you said out loud and wrote.
I just
Cold comforter in the winter when you just want to climb into a warm bed, but then you get under the sheets and stuff and are just like, what the fuck? I wanted this to be a warm comforter. That's
what is wrong with me?
I don't know. I've been trying to figure it out. But Kyle, you're getting automatic top 10. But where are you?
Kyle,
putting
welcome
this?
to
You
it,
can
man.
choose any number.
I wanted to buck the trend and just tell you where I've listed all 4 so far. But if I have to follow the rules, I'll follow the rules.
Yeah, the one you're here for. Yeah.
All right. So
I think you can just put it at a number. So if you want, you can put this at the number that you have it in your top four.
Dylan was here first for Christmas with Christmas for Joker, it says. And he put that at number 11. So you can do anything you want. You can.
So the one thing I don't think I've ever actually contextualized is it just my list for TNBAS? It's not a Yoppie, right?
No, I think it's a guest list.
I guess it's any of them. Yeah.
I'm going to be safe then and put it at 5 because I know what I'm going to be coming back for potentially.
You know what you're listed for. Nobody's guaranteed.
Not even me. I gotta beg Jamie every single time. Like, can we please do another episode?
Can I continue to do the podcast?
I can't watch it without you, man.
Brian's always he just wants to be here at all times. That's what I get from
Wait,
it.
why do you say it so facetiously?
He just wants to watch On Leather Wings over and over and over again.
That yop had one small extra yop put it over.
We drop
What we drop?
our weekly yops
Oh yeah, those.
into the comment box. First, there sure was a lot.
Now Jamie's mad.
Too bad we're wrong.
At least I am.
Just Dylan Pollock.
We are all Dylan Pollock.
I
Kyle
still
here
haven't framed this.
Oh yeah. As the world's finest poster. If you want to reach out to us like the fire hand at the end of World's Finest Part 3, you can send a punctuated email or a 60-second voice message to Bat-Wagon. I decided
How
we're
dare
done.
you get us back on track?
Are we going to talk about the 2 Marvel shirts?
Oh yeah, I thought about that too. Last time when I was on Kyle's podcast, I was wearing a big Marvel sweatshirt, and then today I'm wearing an Infinity Gauntlet t-shirt, and we're talking Batman.
Fake
both
fan.
of those times.
Fake.
I know, yeah. Don't pay attention to anything in my room, though. None of that's DC. batwagonpod@gmail.com, or leave a comment on today's episode on the Podtower YouTube channel. But please don't spoil anything past this episode for Brian.
Please.
Kyle. This is from Dylan Pollock. Never fear, the listener is here.
It's time for the thoughts to lead from Dylan Pollock on Never Fear, or Scarecrow's doing no fear now? What's next? Riddler giving answers and demanding Batman make the riddles? So maybe it's just because it's been a while, but I feel like I forgot there was a new Robin coming back into this. But this is a really good episode for Tim. But with Tim being a tiny boy, there's no way that Batman and Robin are catching the letters or whatever signage that's falling off that building.
Right.
It would be far heavier than something even the strongest of men and a small boy can hold up. Also, the new Scarecrow, Dr. Herbert West himself, Jeffrey Combs, undoes every other argument against the redesigns because it is awesome. I'm sure a lot of people are saying that, though. And I love that Bruce's matches Malone's alter ego feels like such a bad impression from a rich guy who doesn't actually know what bad guys are like, where he's like, I'm already the bad guy looking for loose cash. Also, if Batman really had no fear, we would have heard him curse out Tim so hard, or at least some bleeps, when he's asking him to untie him, and that was disappointing. But what won't be disappointing is the question of the week. Jim's favorite part. If the two of you had no fear, what's an opinion you'd now proudly share on the DCAU?
Oh my God.
That's a great question. Wow.
I think all my strongest opinions are past where we're at, so I don't know. What? Yeah.
I've got one.
What is it?
So it said 2 of you. So technically, I don't know. Well, I guess it wasn't said that. Well, Dylan listened to. I know he listened to my episode that had you, so he would know. Anyways,
It would be the transitive property of listener.
yeah. Okay. This is the hot take. I would say.
Oh.
I think Batman Beyond is the best show in the DCAU.
Okay. What do you think, Brian? Is Batman Beyond better than obviously?
No.
Oh man.
Dude, I don't know. I honestly don't know what I would say. Only because I feel like I'm bad at holding the things in that I'm thinking anyway.
Yeah, you've just said them already.
I know. I mean, you know me, Jamie. Is there anything that I'm like? I feel like you or Kimmy would probably know best.
Look, On Leather Wings is the worst episode. I was lying this whole time. I don't hate the Joker design as much as most people. I kind of ham it up for the videos and stuff, but I still don't like it, and that's not a very hot take or whatever. I'm sorry, Dylan. I don't have a good. Ask me this again when we're like almost done with everything. That'll be a better time.
Do you think Superman still holds up watching it now? Like you did BTAS, you're watching Superman. Do you think it's just, like, is it just obviously not as good?
Brian's not afraid to say it. I mean, I think it has had more, like we've talked a little bit, has had more consistent quality, but that the quality level isn't necessarily as high.
It compressed the peaks and valleys.
Yes, exactly. I think that some of the stuff that's yet to come may change that, but there will always be a little bit of like the like estranged cousin kind of feeling to the Superman show or whatever.
I just want an announcer saying next week on Cousin Superman.
Yeah. Although something Dylan did say about the arms, catching the arms, is when it happened in the episode, I said like, no way that a child is holding half of this or whatever, because it's just like a Superman. It would cut to Superman going, oh, when he catches that.
Right.
So Batman and Robin just standing there casually like, yep, we know what to do. This has happened before.
I mean,
maneuver 63 or whatever.
In theory, you can do the like block and tackle pulley thing, and you can lift a lot more weight and whatever. But I
wanted to, because it shows them doing like identical moves with their different grapnel guns, and then it shows Batman tie it around a piece of a building and hold it in place, and then Robin tie it around a piece of building and hold that in place. But when it goes ka-chunk at the bottom, I just wanted it to cut back to Robin going like wrap inverse around that building part and then fling off of the thing because he's 28 pounds. He's like
the 28-pound boy wonder.
Yeah, that's what they call him. This is from Eric LeBeau. Never fear, or is at the bottom of his mask, or is the neck of his shirt really stretched out? Which is something, I think that's a reference to a video that we did where covering all these redesigns, where I've always looked at Scarecrow as like, oh yeah, that's a really ratty, like stretched out shirt collar at the bottom of his noose. But then you look at his arms are like much more pale than that. So it's much more likely a like bag of human skin over his face that's being held on by the noose. And that's like the bottom of the skin bag. It's really gross. We'll talk more about it later, I'm sure.
I'm going to have to look out for that.
Yeah.
You almost fooled me.
That's me whenever I see art on my timeline and I'm about to like it before I notice it's AI. Well, we finally got to one of the few new good designs. I can just hear Brian going, "Holy shit!" upon hearing the new voice for Scarecrow coupled with that amazing design. It's just one of those versions of the character that really makes you go, "That's him!" As far as highlights for the episode, seeing Tim Drake, the best Robin, stand up to Batman, especially one who doesn't have any qualms with killing, is one of my favorite moments for him as a character. And then again, Batman didn't really have much problems with supposedly killing Clayface or
Mr. Freeze!
I don't really have anything made of Tim in my house. Still, it's awesome to see Tim stand up to a borderline sadistic Batman. But what I think would have made the episode even better would be if Batman, while doing all those tricks in the Batwing, just went, "Wee!" like that guy in the opening act. Pretty solid episode. Till next time, keep calm and yap on.
Yeah, just Batman going, ha 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 ha, woo, as he's flying around. Diving off buildings like that. You're kind of alerting the bad guys that we're here.
I'd pay to see that.
This is from Lanola Cola. Tug on the Super Cape. 2 villain returns in a row, and after the Two-Face episode, too. Well, no fear, because it's the episode Never Fear, a.k.a. So Scarecrow stole Sewer King's crocodiles and Roland Daggett's scheme from Cat Scratch Fever, huh? Scarecrow's fart gas made Batman go full Frank Miller. Seymour Gray has a sexual harassment suit waiting for him after the Never Fear gas wears off. Yes, he does. Is Robin's exaggerated ouch this series Harvey? No. When he's karate chops the...
That was actually... That was...
Yeah.
That was...
It was good.
It was all right.
This was a good episode and was definitely remembered for debuting Scarecrow's redesign. He's also less theatrical about his proclivity for fear compared to btas. I also like that Tim Drake was able to discern Batman's attempted gaslighting and his proactiveness to handle Scarecrow solo. No ejected shells from the Guru's guards' guns, and that will be it for my thoughts on this episode till we hop again. Thank you for all the shell updates.
that triggered something for me.
Yeah.
Is this like some kind of metaphor for like a boy going through puberty and getting like dosed with testosterone and kind of losing control? Like, is that what this is, you think?
I don't think so, but It is now.
I feel like it could be.
I thought it was the other end, and the never fear is actually more of a metaphor for erectile dysfunction.
I mean, the guy in the office for sure. This is from Tip Tapricot. Still don't have a mic to record with. My phone doesn't do audio recordings on its own. It's weird. So comment this time. Okay, fine. Wow, Never Fear is a wild episode. Dare I say one of, if not almost the best Batman episode so far. It was dark and intense and had a premise that makes you go, oh shit, as soon as you figure it out, as well as additional oh shits for the dead noose scarecrow reveal and the first on-screen blood tied to a real corpse with the alligator. But on top of that, the episode also had super clean animation and an undercurrent of family care between Bruce and Tim that makes it feel grounded, and the loss of human empathy in Bruce weighted. That last bit is my one gripe with the episode, though. I felt like it ended too quickly without wrapping up some of its own themes. I assume, the weird little Tim smile and then in the music, and it was over. They walk into the sunset. It was a little interesting.
It was a choice.
Well, two of them walk, one of them is dragged.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you.
Dragged until his heels and ankles are just little stubs.
His feet are even tinier than they were before. I assume there was going to be some line from Bruce about, I stopped being afraid of losing you to Tim, which would highlight why he was so awful to him, and how he's also been neglecting his role as an adoptive parent with the summer break line at the start. As is, it felt like the episode wrapped up suddenly, leaving some of those emotional threads hanging, and that's a shame in my opinion because the rest of it felt so perfectly executed. One of those moments that the 22-minute or so runtime feels like it kneecapped the episode a bit. Still an absolutely fantastic and haunting episode, one that makes you think about Batman's ties with fear, not just as someone who instills it, but as someone who enacts it, and that perhaps his violence is both driven and held back by the very fear of becoming what set him on this path in the first place. Oh, yeah, that's kind of neat. Killing.
Hot take.
Ketchup. Barbecue sauce. This is from LexCorp Cares. Loose Orphan. Hi there, Jabberwocky and Bandersnatch. I think someone's done that one before. You gotta come on. I'm over in Gotham this week. I just had a few thoughts about the Wayne Enterprises building. Sent on a grimy old rotary phone in an abandoned theme park. What is wrong with this place?
Hey, it's your old pal from LexCorp here again. Just calling in the great city of Gotham. I was over here to return a few things after a failed collab with Wayne Enterprises. Nothing important, just like a key to my apartment and, like a beautiful engraved photograph frame with a personalized message that was meant to house photos of our beautiful murder robots we were going to make together. But that doesn't really matter. What matters is that there was just an orphan flipping around the corporate headquarters of Wayne Enterprises. I don't know who put this orphan there, why they were there, why no one's put them to work in a lead factory. I have no real idea. This town makes no sense to me. And the guy that got to kiss me when I entered the building, Seymour Gray, no passion at all. None whatsoever. And you know I hate Superman. Everyone knows I hate Superman. But I will say this. Superman, he brings the passion. His lips are moist. He never uses tongue. It's a great kiss. Everyone in Metropolis agrees about this. I don't know what's wrong with this city, but it's actually making me miss Superman. I got to get out of here. Gah!
The kisses were not compared, yeah. This is from Kyle, who somehow, I don't know how he can do this because he happens to be sitting right here. So
what? Wait, which Kyle?
That's what I was going to say. Is I did mean to make a joke up front about which Kyle we were speaking with. Voice messages, but I guess we're about to find out because the voice message is called "This Kyle."
Okay, if I'm gonna keep up this ruse that I am Kyle from this Earth, I need to learn a little bit about myself. It says emails weekly sent to batwagonpod. Okay. Why do I have so many files listed? Get up on the Hydra's back. Okay, I've got to watch this Never Fear episode of Batman, the animated series. Why does it look so different? We had 7 seasons of this show with a much better art style. Whoa, that scarecrow is actually scary looking. This is easily the best redesign. Am I the only one thinking that? I don't know. Maybe that's what I should send into this. What is their names? Jim and Ryan of Jump Off the Bet? What's this podcast called? I don't know. This will probably be good enough. I'll just send this in to them.
Oh, so who was that from? I guess I don't know.
That was
not me.
That was Kyle, obviously. It sounded like Kyle.
It says here in my calendar I'm supposed to appear on the podcast. I guess I'll just try to make it up as I go.
No, well, so off of that, kind of like everyone's going to be talking about it because it's probably one of the things to talk about. It's why I wanted to discuss it with you two, is that the versions of like the Batman redesigns are like, they're quite shocking when you are introduced to them.
Mm-hmm.
But going back and forth between the shows this way feels a lot less aggressive. Like, I don't know. I find myself settling in every time as opposed to like, whoa, these are different from the btas episodes.
The amount of Superman in between helps like push you farther away from btas a little bit, maybe. Yeah, I kind of feel that a little bit.
Okay. I don't want to do this because I guess I'll just get it over with. If the original btas didn't exist and this is just what the design was, it'd be clean and awesome and good and all that stuff. I think the fact that we had 80 whatever episodes with the original design, that this just feels like
what happened?
It's like why would you make that choice? Why wouldn't you just clean up those designs rather than kind of recreate?
It's weird to me to think back to when this show started and I was 28 pounds. But where I like the internet, social media, all that kind of stuff was not what it is today. But I don't remember it being such a big deal to people at the time. Even on like message boards and stuff that I was seeing discussions about this stuff on, it was not like, to my memory, it was not this huge deal that it is right now where if you were born after all these shows ended and you are just going back and watching Batman the Animated Series on Max and then it auto plays the next episode and you go, what am I looking at? What's going on? Why did they change the art style and all this stuff? To me, it feels similar to when Dexter's Lab changed its art style and it's just like, oh, it's pointier now. And it's like, everybody looks slightly weird and different. Do you not remember this, Brian?
Nope. I'm too old.
But I never, at the time, thought that wasn't anything but really cool to see like new costumes and things like that. And I was the target audience, so I don't know.
Oh, whoa!
You seeing the Dexter's Lab thing now?
I don't recall. I don't think I've ever seen this version, like the redesigned version.
I mean, that was like 2002 or 3 or something like that it changed. I don't know.
The reason we probably don't have as vitriolic a response was because you pivoted, like we had btas, we pivoted into Superman, and then pretty much like all the other shows look like this, right? Like in terms of art design, btas is kind of the outlier.
Yeah, the btas is actually the standout different one. Yeah. We'll keep going and we'll see how it goes. That's the whole point. Mm-hmm. This is from Ryan Hip. Hey, I'm Matches Malone, bada bing. I did want to bring up real quick the Matches Malone disguise that he uses in this. I don't think they name it in the thing, but it just reminds me. I think we had a discussion way back in Robin's Reckoning when he puts on his kind of like scruffy guy disguise and goes and plays dice in the alleyway with those guys. And he's like, oh, my name's Smith or whatever. Like that's all he's doing. And we talked about like, that's this, like he has a much worse version of this disguise way later where he just puts a mustache and sunglasses on and you were like losing your mind about that. And that's this episode. He does it a couple other times too. But yeah, just like clearly Bruce Wayne doesn't even change his tie. He's still the same guy.
That's better. Got a little mustache
maybe this is the same conversation we had off camera, off air about Waluigi where we just, oh, it's Wario. And then what are we going to do for the evil Luigi? Like, Luigi. It's Bruce Wayne, but I put sunglasses.
Yeah. I know. I got to try this disguise thing sometime. Just go out into town with just sunglasses on.
And a baseball cap and see what happens.
Yep.
Who the hell is this?
What the fuck happened?
Who is that?
Kyle!
There's someone
in your house. Oh, thank God, Kyle's back. Kyle, there was somebody here just a second ago.
This is like the Batman, Superman sketch.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Commissioner Gordon, where'd you go? Or whatever,
Yeah, it was the Two-Face thing.
That's right, yeah.
Harvey, thank God you're back.
He's the crocodile murderer. He's Batman. That was a Steve Irwin Crocodile Hunter reference. Probably didn't land.
It did.
Kenji and Stan B are at it again with everybody's favorite college Dick could never. Dick Grayson's always been a favorite of mine in different media, different iterations, but I've always felt like the Fox episodes of Batman did his Robin pretty dirty. Getting Tim Drake and having him be just fucking awesome, especially in this episode, sneaking up on Batman multiple times, karateing a fucking handcuff. He's the best. He's just the fucking best. I'm assuming since this was November 1st, this was supposed to be like the big Halloween episode or something, since Halloween was on a Friday. But for those playing along at home, this week it was See No Evil, Way of All Flesh, Terror in the Sky, Fun and Games. And on Halloween, it's everyone's top favorite episode, Moon of the Wolf. Way to go, guys. Happy Halloween. That episode sucks.
Crikey!
Yeah, what a great Halloween 1997. Oh, it's the werewolf episode. Great.
I was there. Man, what was I doing on Halloween 1997?
Watching Hocus Pocus, not.
I was Indiana Jones.
I don't think...
I might have been Chris O'Donnell Robin that year. I know I was around then.
I probably wasn't trick-or-treating anymore.
That's very true. This is from Scrudge. To answer Brian's question, I was not there in the far gone days of the 1900s. I actually won't be born for about 62 podcast episodes, give or take. I'll be sure to write in when we get to that, and I'll tell you all about how my high school reunion went and how many elections I voted in. Thanks, Scrudge. What is your profile picture? Is it a Transformers thing? It's very strange looking. I always think it's like a boxy Killer Croc, but I think it's a Transformer.
What?
Tell me, Scrudge, later. Next time. This is Vitz. I always did like this episode of Superman's Late Mr. Kent. It just had a different tone than most. One thing I had a problem with was how Lois talks about having a backup disc with evidence and Superman just point blanks. I wish I'd thought of that. Lois Lane still not clocking the subtle hints.
Yeah. I wish I thought of that when I was Clark Kent.
When I was Clark in the Kent.
You know what I mean?
When I was Clarking in the Kent, as everybody says. Yeah.
I was in the bathroom the other day, Clark in the Kent, if you know what I
mean. Are you saying you're... No? This is from Scarlowy, Jump on the Mechanic Wagon. I'm sure everyone has already said that they like this Scarecrow design better because it's more intimidating, but personally, I think it's cool if he looks wimpy to contrast his fear gas. Interesting. Huh. Anyway, what's Earl up to, he says.
Hello, listener, and welcome back to Jump on the Mechanic Wagon. I'm your host, Scarlowy1. In this episode, I will tell you about Season 1, Episode 4 of The New Earl Adventures, Early, You Can't Drive My Car. We open on Gotham Highway, where the Joker style is driving around crazily and hitting things left and right. We then discover that, in fact, Earl is the one driving it. Joker pulls up beside him in another car and says, Earl, you have to stop. I love that car, and if you die, I won't have anyone to fix it. Oh. I'm not scared. I'll be fine. This is fun. When this is all over, I'm gonna find Dr. Crane and... Both cars crash, and there is a massive explosion.
Oh my god.
The end.
Oh.
By the way, this is never referenced again. Maybe it was a dream, or maybe this is the last episode in the timeline. Anyway, see you next week. Same PP time, same poo-poo channel.
It ends like with, and then the Toyman explosion happens. This is from Batgirl Fangirl.
Hey!
Never fear. Gulp. Boy, the workman repairing the track went that extra mile with that flimsy tracks closed danger sign. I hope they do a better job with the track when they get around to it. The business card, 5550100. I wonder if I should try that myself. Could help me with my turophobia. What is turophobia?
One moment, please.
Sorry.
Turophobia.
What in the Latin is that?
Cheese? Is this fear of cheese? What?
That's like lactose intolerancy to a whole other level.
Yeah, inability to eat disgust with cheese. Interesting. I'm so sorry if you have that for real, because cheese is delicious, and let's keep talking about cheese on the podcast.
I mean, hey, if you don't like cheese, don't like it's okay. You're not missing much.
If you don't like On Leather Wings, you're wrong. I hope Scarecrow's new costume is made of a strong material, with Batman dragging him several city blocks to the GCPD by his collar. I got so engrossed by this one. I thought the animation was perfectly done, especially the part with the Batwing zipping through the city, and the music simply superb. Yeah, I actually really appreciated the Batman theme motif playing when he and Robin are like zip tying the legs up. I was like, oh yeah, Batman. He has a Batman song, huh? So used to hearing like da 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 every time Superman shows up.
Kyle's got thoughts about this.
I do. I was thinking about this when I rewatched the episode for the third time. So I didn't have a chance to go back, but James, you'll be able to correct me. But the theme used for each of the like triumphant moments for Timm, are those not Nightwing's theme?
I wondered about that. He definitely had like a trumpety thing every time he showed up. Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, that might be. We haven't gotten Nightwing yet, though. So I don't know. I mean, yeah, it sounded familiar, so it may show up later, or maybe I've just seen this episode enough. I don't know. Yeah, I know Jeffrey Combs mainly as Wei-Yun from Deep Space Nine. He's so perfect for this role. I would see Bleep Blorp, whatever his name. I would never have thought of that casting choice. I love the remake of Scarecrow. I hope Brian does too. I've not seen this one in a very long time. This was a real treat for me. Keen pod as usual. Brian, James, and Ryan. That's you right there, Kyle. 5 stars and 5 unbranded containers of anti-fear toxin. Always read the label. Thank you.
I figured out what Scourge's picture is, if you were curious.
Oh, Scrudge?
Scrudge. Yeah, it's from the original Generation 1 Transformers.
It is Transformers. Okay.
Scrudge gets hit with some sort of beam and then like melts.
Wait, Scrudge is a Transformers character?
Yeah.
What?
Oh, this is completely news to us.
Oh my God.
We've just been saying Scrudge.
I just like it. I just like the name.
It's worse now. I'm just Nick Sorensen, the only DC related reference I ever remember from Quest for Camelot, or when WB tried really hard to be Disney and failed, is when they played John Williams' Superman theme in a scene where the 2-headed dragon was flying. Did they really? Jesus, okay. I still think it's funny that out of all the known cartoons and movies to be referenced in the Space Jam sequel, it seems that even WB themselves never really acknowledged the existence of Quest for Camelot anymore. But then, like many people, I consider The Iron Giant to be the superior WB animated movie anyway, and Mask of the Phantasm. Those are 2 solid choices.
Uh-oh.
Brian's got to watch The Iron Giant, right? Because you still haven't seen that?
Correct.
And you are a combination of the 2 adult men in that movie. I think I showed you a picture of the bad guy, and you look a lot like him. Kent Mansley. Anyway, if anyone's still wondering what Brian looks like and hasn't figured it, just think of Kent Mansley from The Iron Giant, but with brown hair.
I gotta look at that again.
Super Beetle. Howdy do tea, a drink with jam and bread. I was excited to see you guys cover the late Mr. Kent, or Clark achieves the highest honor of journalism. Shout out to Lana making an unexpected cameo. Do you think Clark called her and not his own mother just to mess with Lois? Seems kind of spiteful, but whatever. Also, Brandango's goofy slip up at the end got me thinking about DC's Sandman and whether or not you will recommend Paul Dini's autobiographical graphic novel. I think I did back in the Mask of the Phantasm episodes. The one, the events that occurred when he was writing Mask of the Phantasm and he got like beat up by people
I recall.
and all this. Yeah. Anywho, thank you for the fun as always, and have a good week. You too, man. We got a Euphonium Star damage report.
Oh, thank God.
The late Mr. Damage report. Clark's car, highway guardrail, Clark's clothes, floppy disk, Clark's apartment, water tower, police department, wall, another wall, HVAC unit, police department, roof, stormwater outlet hole, more of the roof, helicopter rotor, prison door, execution chamber glass, prison ceiling and roof, Detective Bowman. It says Rip Bozo at the end.
Rip Detective Belmont.
Yeah, whatever his stupid name was. Speaking of the Phantasm, hey James, I forget if you've talked about it before, but I was wondering if you have shown Brian the intro of the new Batman Superman adventures since it's no longer in any of the episodes. That was what I played before World's Finest. It was like the unique Batman and Superman combo intro.
Oh, yeah.
The unfortunate part about it is I wish I could play that, more times. It's on the DVDs, but not the Blu-ray, I'm pretty sure. So you can tell the DVDs, like, yes, always play every Superman episode with this intro or whatever, but I don't think it's on the Blu-ray at all. And the HBO Max obviously just has the normal intro. So when we're watching these, it would be like completely out of the way for you to watch the intro somewhere and then skip the intro of the regular show and watch the episode. Like, it sounds like something I would make you do, but I'm not going to go that far.
I wouldn't be super opposed to it.
I think there will be more opportunities for me to add it on to things for you to watch. So
Okay.
we'll get there. Last first, we have Mark Aquino, Never Fear, or Now That's a Scarecrow, or God, I Love TMS, or Cancel Batman, This is the New Robin Adventures Now. From this point on, for the rest of TNBA, every villain redesign should be judged on a scale from Joker to Scarecrow, because old Johnny Crane's new look is now the bar for this sort of thing. Not much else to say about this episode for me personally. It was pretty decent overall. As the header says, TMS just keeps on blessing us with beautiful fluid animation. I liked the angle they went with the false healer guy who is curing people of their fears. Although am I the only one who thinks there's not much of a difference between Batman Without Fear and Batman With Fear?
I mean, there's a pretty significant difference.
When he's doing the wire cutting, rope cutting stuff on the edge of the building, you were like, "Oh, this is badass." And I thought, like, yeah, this does seem like you compared it to the Batman Begins train too. Is like in that movie, he's like, "I'm not gonna kill you, but I don't have to save you," and leaves. And that's like, yeah, Batman in the movie,
still
like,
manslaughter.
Yeah. And then in this, it's like he's about to do the same. He's about to literally kill him, and they're like, "Oh, I can't do that." So I don't know. I prefer that, but that's just me. Tim Drake continues to be the better Robin in my eyes. When he ties up Batman and calls him out on his BS, I felt like an audience member for one of those daytime talk shows who nods their head in approval and claps when a dude is put on blast for their shitty behavior. Yes, drag him, yes! Boss Biggest Bear Hugs is the #1 podcast host in this year multiverse of ours. Join us in blacklight painting. Praise to our Lord and Savior Dylan Pollock. Keep up the great work on your own podcast. And tell us to Reverend tell Gab she rules. Yeah.
Join us in blacklight painting.
Yeah, that's your name now.
Can I be Blacklight Burns, the band?
No.
West Borland.
Have you heard of Steam Powered Giraffe?
Get out of here.
You're the absolute best. Don't you forget that. To the rhythm of a tango. It just says placeholder, placeholder, baby, I'm a placeholder. How do I? Placeholder, baby, I'm a placeholder. I don't know how the fuck to do that. That doesn't quite work. Till next week, smoke bomb that'll be blown out by a big old whoosh because I just flew away. Thank you, everybody, for the mail.
Oh, man.
Thank you, Kyle, for being here on the podcast and saying good things and also some bad things that I'll cut out because obviously you said bad things and we all say bad things.
Wow, I can't believe you just said that, Kyle. That was so bad of you to say
Kyle,
that.
Oh my God, so racist.
After James tweeted he was going to be on Film Realist, that the writer of the film we reviewed was like, "Can't wait to listen." I was like, "Oh no!"
And then we went, "Oh no," because we made fun of a lot of stuff about it. We also said lots of good things, though. I listened back to it. I think we were plenty fair, but he hasn't said anything yet, so who knows if he listened to it.
We will see. We will see.
Yeah.
I always hesitate to say anything bad about Dan's work on this podcast.
Well,
we've been
much
honest about
bad
it too,
to say about it, so it works out.
He's way more critical of his work than you guys have ever been.
Oh yeah, no, he'll be the first to be like, "Oh, and that was terrible."
It's hard. It's hard to be critical of perfection.
The Zatanna episode, is that the one where he's like,
yeah,
and you're like, "It's James Bond."
Yeah, we're like, we liked
Didn't
it.
he put it at number? I feel like he put it at number 11 or something on his list.
Yeah, he wanted it to be lower. I mean, I know that I think that was one of the earliest ones where Brian was like, "Oh man, like I kind of liked this one," and then Dan's like, "It is my least favorite thing I've ever done. What the fuck, I hate it." I'm Dan Reba, bada bing.
Look at my really thin mustache.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God.
Well, we have 4 more episodes before we enter 1998. 8 more episodes before our next movie. The next episode is called Heavy Metal. Is it Batman or Superman?
It's neither. It's that weird animation with like the hard
80s
rock
cartoon with tits in it. Yeah, that's awesome. Let's watch that instead.
Heavy metal. If this isn't a Superman Lobo episode, I'm gonna be pissed.
It's a Superman episode.
Oh wait, is it Steel?
Yeah.
Hey!
You're correct.
Okay, I guess that's fine.
I was actually pretty surprised to see how quick this one was on the heels of Prototype, but I'm not complaining.
Why not? They set it up. Might as well. They put it on the little baseball, the wiffle ball, and the baseball tee, and the little kid's gonna come up and whack at it with a plastic
They put
bat.
on their baseball hats and they went, "Who's this guy now? I don't know who he is. Never seen this man before in my life." Superman Steel shows up in his steel armor. Who are you? You're wearing a hat. I've never seen you in my life before.
Why didn't Clark just wear a hat? He could be in the Superman outfit and just wear a hat and sunglasses.
He can just be in the Superman costume working at the Daily Planet, but he's got sunglasses on. So
that reminds me of a really, really big man from Rocko's Modern Life.
You think you've talked about this before? Yes.
God, can we, whenever we finish this whole Bat-Wagon thing that we're doing, can we just do the same thing but with Rocko's Modern Life? I'd be very happy.
I thought you were going to say, can we just do the same thing again? Because we'll have forgotten everything we said the first time. So.
My mind is a steel trap, Jamie. I forget nothing.
Well, thank you, Kyle. It's always fun to have you on, or vice versa, to be on your podcast. And that was out on Monday, Film Realists with me, and Brian was on for Mask of the Phantasm and The Batman. If you want to hear them talk about that stuff, but plug things. Tell people where things are.
That's a little personal of a question. I'm assuming you mean about the social medias.
Ideally.
No. We're talking anatomy, please. Thank you.
I am the host of the Film Realists podcast, available on all the podcast platforms. It's the film.
That's real, like EE, like a film reel. Yeah. That's the joke.
Yeah. It's the podcast from an absolute nobody that's hopefully for somebody. I review the weekly big TV release or feature film. So when you are listening to this, the upcoming Monday will be a review of The Fall Guy and Bad Batch Season 3, which is a Disney Plus series on Star Wars. So you can look forward to that.
On your show, I was saying how I don't envy you having to keep up with so many things. We just have one episode to watch every time. And
hopefully this was easy for you.
Yeah, well, I mean, I gave myself extra work and tripled
it 3 times.
Tripled the watch time. But I mean, typically most things are released weekly. There's only been 2 shows that I've done that have been I don't like the Netflix drop model, but unfortunately that was the case for Avatar and
Avatar
Fallout.
Just being here's the whole thing.
So yeah, if you enjoyed my third of the nonsense of this episode, check it out there on all the socials.
Yes. My group that was watching Avatar, we rage quit and started watching Arcane. Have either of you seen this?
It's fantastic.
I've only seen 1 episode, but I'm like, wow, this is already better than Avatar. Love it.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's obviously it's apples and oranges, but it's very good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So fruit. It's fruit. That's what you're saying.
It's fruit.
It's a banana.
It's got lots of potassium. It'll get you going.
Can we
in the
end
morning,
on that? Just it's a banana.
Yeah, I think so. That's the show. We'll see you next week without Kyle for Heavy Metal, the 80s movie with tits in it.
Thank you, listener, for listening. Thank you, Kyle, for being here. It's been a laugh and a half.
It's been my pleasure.
Bananas.
Last night when I tied you up, I didn't mean...
Don't apologize. You were right.
Yeah, but it was kind of scary.
A little fear's a good thing.
Jump on the Bat-Wagon is hosted by the Watchtower database. Subscribe to our YouTube channel for DC Animated Universe videos on a regular basis. This podcast is edited and produced by yours truly, James Strecker. Musical themes by Kimmy, Cooney Phoenix, Viltsu, Eric LeBeau, Jordan Blumen, my mother, and of course, my smooth co-host, Brian, Brother Broderick Meneely. To buy us a Yoppie beverage and hear your name read in a future episode, or to nab yourself a Yoppie Dude t-shirt, please visit the links in today's show notes. Thank you for supporting the show. You can hear more on today's DCAU episode by checking out our friends over on the DCAU Review and Timm Talk podcasts. Please leave us a 5-star review on your app of choice. You'll damn well hear it read on the show. If you'd like to reach out to us like the fire hand at the end of World's Finest Part 3, you can email batwagonpod@gmail.com or leave a comment on the Podtower. New episodes of Jump on the Bat-Wagon are released Fridays on all your favorite podcast feeds and watchtowerdatabase.com. And we'll see you next episode, same PP time, same poo-poo channel.